Joining us now, MSNBC legal correspondent Lisa Rubin, New York Times opinion columnist David French, and former Virginia congressman and former senior advisor to the January 6th Select Committee, Denver Riggleman. Denver, is there any evidence that the FBI planted people in that crowd to instigate the day's events?
No. I mean, we looked at millions of pages of hard phone records. We even went into the Ray Epps conspiracy theory. We looked at any type of data or any type of metadata that could connect in any way. We looked at all the phone numbers of all the field offices because at that point, it was going crazy with the conspiracy theories, with the FBI being somehow internally part of that, which is ludicrous. And I think it really puts people going after Christopher Wray or even the new January 6th committee to investigate the January 6th committee really in a bad place, because once you look at the data, if you rehash that data, if you look at it through a metadata analysis, if you look at it through phone analysis and the text messages, it's absolutely ludicrous to think that. And it's just this sort of this fantasist spectral type of evidence that people are utilizing to try to come up with more conspiracy theories, but there's none at all. It just does not exist.
Any FBI agents in the crowd at all?
Oh, possibly. I mean, especially after the fact, once it started, my guess is it was all hands on deck at that point. But as far as looking at FBI agents in the phone records themselves, you remember, with our technologies, we can look at every phone number and resolve all those identities, Katie. So we can go through thousands at a time. And we looked at everything. I mean, obviously people say, well, Denver, you didn't have the phone record for every single agent in the world and every single individual. But we had over almost 600 of them. And many of those we could actually cross-examine with other phone numbers on records we didn't have. So again, Katie, the evidence just isn't there. And I think ones and zeros make the best evidence. So it's very difficult to overcome that.
Okay, so if it's difficult to overcome that evidence, if you're trying to understand Donald Trump and what he's looking for at the Justice Department, what does an investigation or a charge look like against yet another former FBI director?
Well, first of all, there's no evidence that there were 274 people behaving as undercover agents on the day of January 6th. At the very most, there may have been FBI agents present there for law enforcement purposes. That's what Kash Patel said over the weekend when he was asked to explain what Donald Trump said. If that is in fact true, one of the things that they could be looking at is a potential false statement by Christopher Wray. But Katie, we don't really have a sense of what they're looking at because Donald Trump speaks in these very nebulous terms about potential improprieties. Notice he said that Christopher Wray did something inappropriate and he would think that the Department of Justice is looking at it. It almost is like a cattle prod to the Department of Justice. Please look into potential criminality by this person, as opposed to making concrete allegations that any actions he took were indeed and in fact criminal.
Yeah, David, it's almost like look and find me something.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is old stuff. This is show me the man and I'll show you the crime. I mean, this is the kind of conduct you see in authoritarian societies all the time. And so, but one thing that has really changed here is, I don't know if you remember all the way back to 2016, there was this phrase, take Trump seriously, but not literally. In other words, all the things that he was saying, you just got to take him with a grain of salt. I mean, he's directionally right, but the specifics, he's not going to do that. He was always meant to be taken seriously and literally. That's what he wanted from the beginning. And when he threatens these FBI officials, when we now see an indictment that's just specious and almost frivolous on its face, you realize he is now surrounded by people who will do exactly what he says. So when he mentions somebody, when he says that he's targeting somebody, that person should expect to be indicted, should expect to face the full weight of the law. And this is a new and dangerous development in American law.
Let me play the Vice President, J.D. Vance, saying that there will be more indictments.
Do you think there are more indictments coming, and do you think that's justified?
Well, there's certainly going to be more indictments coming over the next 3.5 years of the Trump administration, but we're always going to let the law drive this stuff and the facts of the case and not political motivations.
Help me understand what he just said there, David. There will be more indictments, but we're going to let the law do this?
These are weasel words. I mean, what he's trying to say is he's on the one hand saying, well, of course, any presidential administration indicts criminals. And so he's it's double speak. Oh, yeah, there will be general indictments, but everyone in MAGA knows what this means, that there is a targeted effort to go after Trump's political enemies. I mean, this is the most broadcast, legal initiative, criminal justice initiative you can imagine. He said before his election, he said after his election, he wants to go after this people. And now he's doing it, even when members of the Department of Justice say this is a bad case. He will steamroll through it and he will indict who he wants to indict. So I think as I said earlier, we're in a new and dangerous place.
So, David, I was listening over actually this morning to an interview that you did with your other opinion writers at the Times, your conservative-leaning or conservative opinion writers with like David Brooks and Russ Douthat. And it was back in March, and you were talking about the appeal of Donald Trump among Republicans, because there's this idea that he's defying all these Republican norms. Why do Republicans suddenly follow Donald Trump? And part of it was about, understanding where we are and how alarmed to be was about the legal system and the court system. And this was before the James Comey indictment. Certainly before talk about indicting Christopher Wray. It was right around the time that the immigration flights were not halted as the
Right.
courts ordered them. It felt a little squishier then. Does it still feel so squishy now?
No, there's nothing squishy about it. I mean, this is the hard edge. He's bringing the sword of the law against his enemies. And I don't think it ends with James Comey. I hope that there's such a decisive legal response here that the judiciary, which in many ways is the last functioning branch of government in the U.S., can halt these legal attacks. I mean, he's still got to persuade a judge. He's still got to persuade a jury. They're not in his control. But we're at the hard edge point now. We're at the point where his vengeance is being felt in a broader American society, and to the cheers of millions of members of MAGA who want nothing more than to see that kind of vengeance. And so this is something that he campaigned on. This is something that millions of people voted for him to do. And now he's doing it. And really only the judicial branch stands in his way at the moment.
Denver, do you get a sense that people out there want anybody who was on the committee or worked on the committee to investigate January 6th investigated themselves? Do you have a sense that they want you investigated?
No, they should. They should get the team, right? I mean, when you look at what's happening, the Democrats and those that are sane can set the battle space right now by relitigating the phone records and what was already out there. The issue that you have when you go backwards this long is a lot of the phone companies don't keep the records that long for geolocation data and things like that. The other thing, too, is it's already out there. Everything that you need is there in the archives, if it is still there. Now, the issue that I have, Katie, is I went through an attorney to try to find our hard records and our data, and the phone data is hard to find right now, which is one of the scariest things that I've heard. Where is the phone data? Where is the metadata that backs up the text messages? All that stuff can't be found on the hard drives that were sent in by the technical teams. So you probably have to get them back on board to do that. But I tell you, it's going to be really tough for the Republicans. I'll tell you why. And I think David referred to some of this. It's already out there. When you're looking at Smartmatic, when you're looking at Dominion, all the technical details of why the election wasn't stolen is there. When you're looking at FBI agents in 274, we can look at their phone records. Now, for a lot of cases, you're not going to have geolocation data, but there's a couple service providers that keep them up to 7 years, or one particular, AT&T. So we have this chance right now that we can roll out this metadata and put the Republican committee on the J6 side in Congress on tilt, but also in the FBI investigation. Right, if you're looking at Christopher Wray, he's going to be able to put them on tilt, because once you start asking for metadata, things get really interesting and people get scared and they try to block it, which is what happened with Mark Meadows and Roger Stone and all those people. So, yeah, somebody, everybody calls me, right, Katie? Everybody wants to know the issues here. Nobody's asked me to work on this committee yet. But if they want to bring the metadata team together and the team that looked at the records, who did this in a way that was factual and honest and with integrity, they need to start reaching out to some of these teams.
All right, Denver Riggleman, David French, Lisa Rubin, thank you very much.